Ever catch yourself, like, daydreaming? Picturing ditching the daily grind, maybe for, say, Portuguese sunsets.
It's like this fantasy, right? We all have it, but then bam, back to reality, back to those spreadsheets.
Exactly.
hmm
But what's wild is, Catherine, she's actually doing it,
hmm
trading in, like, the hustle of Brussels for that slower pace of life.
And it's way more than just a change of scenery. You know what I mean? It's how she's framing the whole thing. It's not just early retirement. It's like a total life redesign.
Right. And she's crystal clear about what she's after, too.
Hmm.
It's like she wants to literally swap those alarm clocks for, like, birdsong.
Can you imagine?
I bet even the coffee, I bet it just tastes better in the Portuguese countryside.
Absolutely.
But here's the thing, right? This is where it gets interesting. It's not just about the romance of it all.
Yeah.
It's not just like, oh, pretty sunsets.
Exactly. And she's upfront about that. She even says, like, she's really asking herself, will I regret having a little less money later, or am I going to regret not, like, grabbing this chance now?
Ugh, that's such a tough question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Makes you really stop and think, like, what would I trade for a life that really fit? Okay, so she's got this phrase, right? Quality of life as currency. What does she even mean by that?
Well, she's acknowledging that, yeah, money matters. Of course it does. But what about well-being? What about feeling fulfilled? Those things have value, too. Like, she talks about wanting to explore those, like, ancient villages or spending evenings surrounded by, like, the scent of lavender.
It sounds so idyllic, right? But hold on, because it's not all, idyllic scenery. She's got this whole plan to, like, really get involved, to really embed herself in the community.
Right. It's where the whole August 15th thing comes in. It's like she's choosing to, like, dive headfirst into those local festivities, immersing herself in the culture right from day one. It's not just a move, it's a total integration.
And speaking of diving in, she's not doing this solo. And this is where her story, it takes on, like, a whole other dimension. This is where it becomes, like, a family affair.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, this farmhouse renovation.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, she's taking on with her daughters. It's more than just, like, bricks and mortar,
Yeah.
She's talking about creating, like, a multi-generational haven, a place for her family to connect for, like, years to come, generations.
Yeah. Okay, but hold on a second, because I can already hear some listeners thinking, hold up, easier said than done, right? Renovating a farmhouse in another country. That takes resources.
And she's not shying away from that. She acknowledges that. This isn't about, like, throwing caution to the wind. She's thought this through. She's made a plan. It's about being intentional with your resources, both financial and personal.
So it's about finding that balance between, like, really going for your dreams, but being smart about it.
Right.
And not just for her own sake, but for her family's too.
Exactly. And she even takes it a step further because she's not just focused on her own family, right? She wants to contribute to the local community as well.
Which is really interesting. You'd think someone moving to a new country for a slower pace of life, they just want to, like, take it easy. But she's talking about maybe helping other expats, maybe even starting some kind of sustainable living project.
Yeah. It's like she's saying, look, I want to be a part of this community, not just someone watching from the sidelines.
All right.
And that just adds this whole other layer to her story. It's not just about escaping to a quieter life. It's about embracing this whole new one with all of its, challenges and its opportunities.
Okay, so we've got this picture of Catherine ditching the 9-to-5. She's chasing sunsets in Portugal, renovating a farmhouse, and she wants to make a difference in her new community.
That's a lot.
It's a lot.
It all comes back to that question, though, right? Will I regret not having a bit more money later? Or will I regret not, like, seizing this opportunity right now?
Which, let's be honest, is a question we could probably all stand to ask ourselves a little more often.
It's easy to fall into that trap of thinking, oh, well, she's got the means, good for her, but I think there's, like, a deeper lesson here for all of us.
Right. Because it's not like we can all just, like, pack our bags tomorrow and go buy a farmhouse in Portugal. So, like, what's the takeaway here for the rest of us?
For me, it comes down to, like, how we define success. It's like she's saying, what's the point of having more if you're not living a life that feels, I don't know, true to you?
Yeah. It's like she's found her own version of wealth, and it's not, like, tied to her bank account.
Exactly. It's about having that freedom, that, like, space to spend your time on things that you find meaningful. Maybe it's gardening or exploring a new place, or even, like Catherine's doing, like, building something with your family and your community. That's a legacy.
And that really connects to something she said about time being our most valuable resource.
Hmm.
We hear that a lot, but she's really like living it.
Totally. Every choice we make, there's like an opportunity cost. So is another year at a job you don't even like really worth like putting off those travel plans
Yeah.
or missing out on time with your family? Those are the trade-offs she's talking about.
It's like she's saying, I'd rather have a smaller piece of a life I love, than a huge piece of a life that I'm just like tolerating.
Right. And you know what? This whole quality of life as currency thing, it's not just some like woo-woo idea. There's actual research on this. Studies are showing that like experiences, connections, having a purpose, those things matter more for happiness than like how much stuff you own.
So it's not just about our bank accounts, right?
Yeah,
It's about what we're like accumulating in our lives,
right.
those memories, those relationships, the moments that really matter.
Exactly. And while, sure, not everyone can just like up and retire early and move to Portugal,
Right.
there's still that message about living intentionally for everyone.
You mean like not just going through the motions, but really being thoughtful about how we want to live our lives?
Yes. Catherine's story is like this powerful reminder that we can actually design our own lives. We don't have to just accept the way things are. We can choose to prioritize, I don't know, experiences, connections, contributing to something bigger than ourselves, even if it means going against the grain, you know?
And, it's not lost on me that she's chosen Portugal for this. There's just something about that country.
Hmm.
The pace of life, the people, the food, those sunsets.
There's a reason people are drawn to Portugal. It's not just like the beaches, although those are great. It's that sense of community, that focus on like actually enjoying life, the slower pace.
Yeah.
It just resonates with people who are looking for something different.
It's like she's tapping into this whole different rhythm of life, right? One that's like more in tune with nature, with community, with a different way of thinking about success.
And that's what's so inspiring. It's not just about escaping to a quieter life. It's about embracing this whole new one with, like you said, all the challenges and the opportunities that come with that.
It really makes you think, what if we all approached life with that same sense of purpose and like guts to actually go for it? It really does, doesn't it?
And that's kind of the point, right? This isn't just about like Catherine's story or Portugal. It's about each of us like taking a step back and asking ourselves, what would my life look like, if I really put experiences and well-being first?
So where do we even begin? Most of us, I mean, we can't just like pick up and move to Portugal tomorrow.
You don't have to. It doesn't have to be that drastic, right? It can be as simple as like taking a minute to think what really brings me joy, what actually matters to me, and then just start making like even small changes to make your life match those answers.
So it's not about like needing this huge dramatic gesture. It's more about finding those little, I don't know, like those little bits of joy
In the everyday.
stuff.
Yes. Exactly. It's like actually savoring that morning coffee or enjoying a walk outside or, really being present for a conversation with someone you care about. Those little things, when you add them up, that's what makes a life, a good life.
It's about noticing those moments, yeah, but also like making a choice to create them, right? To
Yeah.
actually make time for what matters, even if it means saying no to some other stuff.
100%. And that might mean having some, I don't know, maybe some tough conversations. Like maybe with your boss about work-life balance, or maybe it's finally booking that trip you've been dreaming about.
It always comes back to that intentionality, huh? Like we can actually design our lives to match what we care about.
And I think that's what's so, I don't know, just so great about Catherine's story. It's not that she has everything figured out. It's that she's brave enough to ask those tough questions, to like question the way things are supposed to be, and to build a life that feels, truly hers.
It's like she's saying, here's what I'm doing. Now you go figure out what your version of a fulfilling life looks like.
Exactly. And who knows, maybe someone listening right now, they'll hear Catherine's story and it'll be that little push they needed to, I don't know, to finally make that change they've been putting off, to take that first step towards a life that really lights them up.
And for anyone who's feeling inspired to learn more about Catherine and like her whole journey towards early retirement, we'll have a link to her Substack blog in the episode description, so be sure to check that out. And of course, subscribe for more deep dives into these like super fascinating stories. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning those norms, and keep building a life that feels like, totally and authentically yours.